I'm Jenny Fusillo with Major League Lacrosse, and today I'm speaking with Evan Washburn, MLL analyst, about the Chesapeake Bayhawks and the 2015 season. How are you doing today, Evan?
I'm doing well, Jenny.
Through trades in the offseason, the Bayhawks have acquired all-star defenseman Kyle Sweeney and attackman Matt Tanowski. Evan, tell us about what their experience can bring to the Bayhawks.
Well, I think that it will contribute in a positive way. And look, Chesapeake's known for doing this. They feel that it's better to, and by they, I mean Dave Cottle, their head coach, feels it's better to build through trades, bringing in experienced players, which you know what you're going to get, rather than try and build through the draft. So this isn't anything new. Now, the Matt Tanowski thing caught a lot of people off guard just because coaches at Duke, he'd been a part of that Hounds organization. It seemed to be working out well. But I think he comes in and provides something this offense hasn't had since John Grant Jr. left in a trade to bring in Brendan Mundorf. If Mundorf's healthy this summer, how those two could work together, it could be impressive. Danowski does a lot of his damage from above the cage while Mundorf works from behind. So he's almost like having another midfielder, which they needed after now the loss of Kyle Dixon and some guys sort of, I guess, their game depleting a little bit. And then Kyle Sweeney, a lot of us thought it would be a retirement for Sweeney, but all reports, and they just had their first training camp a couple weeks ago, are that he is as in shape, motivated as he's been in years. So if anyone can make this kind of stuff work, it's Dave Cottle and the Bayhawks, despite how poorly things went last year.
Now, the Bayhawks are starting their season with a bye, but a lot of their players, such as Joe Walters, will still be playing with the NLL. So how is that going to affect the beginning of their season?
Well, we mentioned this earlier when we were talking about the Charlotte Hounds and the Rochester Rattlers meeting in Week 1. Chesapeake does a nice job of building their roster for this period of the season. I mean, you can segment an MLL season based off of when you have the NLL players and when you don't, when you get the collegiate players coming off the NCAA tournament. And Chesapeake does a nice job of having a roster Week 1, or in their case, I guess Week 2, that'll be very competitive. Joe Walters, I remember last year, didn't show up until, I think it was mid-June, because his team, the Rochester Nighthawks, made it all the way to the championship game in the indoor league. So they're prepared for not having Joe Walters, and they're prepared for not having any of their players that may be playing indoor for as long as they are. So I don't see it being too big of an issue.
Now, they weren't playoff contenders last season, but in 2012 and 2013, they were back-to-back champions. Do you think they have a chance at reclaiming their spot in the championship in 2015?
Of course they have a shot. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say, hey, this is my championship pick. I'm still questioning maybe the health of some important players. I want to see how they come into this season. There was a lot of frustration last year, so that could either be fueled in a positive direction where this group's going to want to have something to prove, or we could see, if things don't go well early, some frustration create tension in terms of wins and losses. But I do think that Chesapeake will find itself back in the playoff hunt, in the playoff picture, and whether they win a championship or not, we'll see closer to early August.
Well, I'm looking forward to see what happens. Thanks, Evan.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me.